Following the iron chain, the man discovered a skeleton minus his great-grandmother, whose body had fused with a massive tree. He decided to strike a deal with her if she revealed the secret of the treasure. He would put her out of her misery, realizing that her ghastly condition was caused by the very treasure he sought. The great-grandmother agreed to the bargain with her descendant. True to his word and honoring his filial duty, the grandson kept his promise. After getting the answers he needed, he set her ablaze, finally granting the ancient woman her long-awaited release. Following the directions she'd given him, he found an abandoned mansion. From that day forward, every time the man emerged from the estate, he carried several gold coins with him. Through these repeated trips, he built himself a steady source of income. The man moved from his leaky shack into a proper house with solid walls and a good roof. 14 years passed, and the man's physical strength began to decline. Fearing that his money-making venture might come to an end, he had his eldest son train daily on rope climbing. He promised his son that if he could climb fast enough, unlimited gold would be waiting for him. One day, his son announced that he had mastered the art of retrieving gold coins and was eager for his father to take him along for a real attempt. The man knew it was time to let his son prove himself, so he drove him to the mansion. However, wanting to play it safe, he decided to run a practice session with his son first. Soon, father and son descended into the depths below. The boy looked around curiously, then began sprinkling raw flour around them for protection. As long as they didn't drop any flour figures, the monsters wouldn't appear. Since this was just practice, the man hadn't brought any flour figures with him. What he didn't expect was that his son had secretly taken one along. The moment the flour figure appeared, it summoned the monsters. The man, standing outside the protective circle, felt his heart skip a beat and quickly darted inside, but his son stumbled and fell in terror. Fortunately, the man reacted swiftly and pulled his son into the circle. However, the dropped flour figure had already attracted the creatures. When the boy spotted them, he lunged for the money bag behind one of the monsters but fumbled it, scattering coins across the ground. Luckily, his son only grabbed a few before returning to the safety of the circle to ensure both he and his father could escape safely. The boy pulled out all the remaining flour figures from his bag. Instantly, even more monsters materialized, surrounding the father and son within their protective circle. Fortunately, the flour barrier temporarily kept the creatures at bay. The man, having never witnessed such a scene before, froze in shock. Thankfully, his son snapped into action, picking up the flour figures from the ground and hurling them outside the circle. The monsters immediately rushed toward the bait, even fighting among themselves over the food. One creature accidentally stumbled into the barrier and was instantly reduced to dust, which extinguished their light. The man lit a match and discovered his son had fallen unconscious. To ensure his son could escape alive, the man tied all the remaining flour figures to his own body. Ignoring his son's desperate pleas, he began climbing up the rope. All the monsters immediately gave chase, some even leaping toward him in their hunger for the bait. Only two fall and disintegrate upon touching the protective barrier below. By the time the boy regained consciousness and looked up, his father had already led all the creatures away. When the boy finally climbed back to the surface, there was no trace of his father anywhere. The boy never imagined that his first attempt would cost his father his life.